before you judge me for canceling my niece's birthday party just hours before the celebration, hear me out. My family called me selfish, heartless, and even told me I was no longer welcome. But when I finally placed 10 years of receipts on the kitchen table, nobody could say a single word. That morning, my family lost their personal ATM, and I finally found my freedom. My name is Rachel Carter, and I never imagined a birthday party would become the moment that changed my entire family forever. Early one Saturday morning, before I had even finished my first cup of coffee, my younger sister Melissa sent me a message demanding that I wire her $7,200 for my niece Emma's birthday celebration. Seconds later, my phone filled with photos of a luxury ballroom, a designer dress, and an extravagant cake that looked more expensive than my first car. Everyone in the family chat admired the pictures, but nobody asked how any of it would be paid for because they already believed they knew the answer. It would come from me, just like it always had. For years, I had been the dependable one. Every emergency somehow landed on my shoulders. A broken car, unpaid rent, moving expenses, medical bills, maxed out credit cards, and endless temporary loans slowly became my responsibility. Melissa always promised she would pay me back, and I always believed her because helping my family made me feel needed. Looking back, I confused being useful with being loved. What nobody knew was that I had finally saved enough money to buy my first home. After years of sacrificing vacations, eating out, and every unnecessary expense, I was only weeks away from closing on a small condo. My loan officer warned me not to move large amounts of money or take on new debt before closing. That $7,200 was not extra money sitting in my account. It was the difference between owning my first home or watching that dream disappear. Instead of sending the money, I asked Melissa one simple question. Could she send me the full budget for the party first? My family reacted as if I had betrayed them. My mother reminded me that family always helps family. My aunt accused me of acting like an accountant instead of a sister. My cousin said it was only one birthday. Not one person answered my question. They only tried to make me feel guilty. Then Melissa sent a picture of Emma wearing the expensive dress with a message saying she guessed she would have to tell her daughter the party was canceled because her aunt cared more about paperwork than family. For a moment, I almost gave in. That guilt had controlled me for years. The next day, I visited my parents hoping someone would understand. Instead, my mother quietly reminded me that I had always been the strong one and asked if it would really hurt to fix this one more time. That was when I realized something painful. Being called the strong one was never a compliment. It was simply another way of saying everyone expected me to pay. As I was leaving, Emma stopped me outside. She admitted she never wanted the expensive party. All she wanted was a simple backyard celebration with her closest friends. The ballroom, giant guest list, and luxury decorations were her mother's dream, not hers. In that moment, I realized I was not protecting my niece. I was protecting a fantasy that someone else had created. That night, I opened a folder I had ignored for nearly 10 years. Inside were receipts, bank statements, screenshots, and forgotten promises to repay me. I built a spreadsheet listing every dollar I had spent helping my family. When I reached the bottom, I froze. The total was $460. Not a single dollar had ever been paid back. Then I discovered something even worse. The ballroom reservation, cake deposit, and dress payments were all under my name because I had used my credit to secure them months earlier. Legally, I controlled every reservation. For the first time in years, I realized I actually had a choice. I offered Melissa a compromise. I told her I would happily contribute to a smaller party that Emma actually wanted. She refused immediately, accusing me of treating family like numbers on a spreadsheet. Then my father called. His voice was calm, but his words cut deeper than any shouting ever could. He told me that because I had the good job, I was responsible for carrying the family. Then he said the sentence I will never forget. Pay for the party, or you are no longer family. Instead of breaking down, I became completely calm. In that moment, I finally understood what all those years of giving had really bought me. My place in the family depended on my bank account. That same night, I canceled every reservation attached to my name. I accepted losing the deposits because losing my future would have cost far more. The next morning, my entire family gathered at my parents' house. Just as everyone sat down, Melissa received an email confirming the ballroom had been canceled. The room exploded with anger. She blamed me for ruining Emma's birthday, while my parents begged me to fix everything one last time. Without saying a word, I placed my spreadsheet on the kitchen table. $41,360. 10 years of unpaid help. Complete silence filled the room. I looked at my family and told them I was not canceling because I loved Emma less. I was canceling because I finally loved both of us enough to stop pretending this was normal. There would be no more surprise deposits, hidden payments, or treating me like the family bank. The weeks that followed were lonely. Some relatives stopped speaking to me, and my father never apologized. But I kept my savings, bought my condo, and finally built a life that belonged to me. Melissa eventually replaced the luxury party with a simple backyard celebration, and everyone admitted Emma had never been happier. A few months later, Emma asked me to teach her how to budget, because she wanted to save for her own goals, instead of depending on someone else. That was the moment I realized the cycle had finally been broken. Sometimes, the most powerful act of love is not saying yes. Sometimes it is finding the courage to say no. I lost my place as the family wallet, but for the first time in my life, I finally discovered my true worth had nothing to do with the money I could give.